These are the top 5 things that can come in between you and the birth that you want. Number 1, investing in birth prep is too expensive. In the West, we culturally find it appropriate to ask for money, spend money, even go into debt for a wedding or perhaps a graduation. These are special moments in life when you turn a page in the book and step into a new chapter. Of course, a wedding is important, but don't you think the stakes are higher with birth? If we don't invest in everything we want for our wedding, we may feel disappointed, but our physical health, the health of our baby, our ability to breastfeed, and long-term intimacy are not on the line. Research has shown that investing in good quality childbirth education, more than a self-paced online class or the weekend hospital class, leads to better outcomes. And better outcomes means better long-term physical and mental health, healthier babies, and healthier families. In the West, we tend to have a skewed understanding of where to best put our resources. The parents and community buy expensive baby clothes and gear, and the baby ends up not using them at all. We're taught to pour our resources into things, not ourselves. But when you invest in preparing for birth, you're not paying for a class. You're making sure that you've done everything you can to have the best birth possible. So when you look back on the day your baby entered the world, you feel peace instead of regret. Because long after the crib is stored away and the stroller is sold, the memory of your birth will still be with you. And how you feel about that day shapes the way you step into motherhood. If you give birth prepared, surrounded by people who believe you can do it, that is going to help you feel like you can do it in parenthood. And that confidence carries forward. And mothers who learned to love themselves, trust themselves, will teach their children to love and trust themselves too. So the best gift you can give your baby is an investment in your emotional and physical health. If you have a happier, healthier birth experience, which will lead to a happier, easier recovery, how do you think that will impact the rest of your life? I interviewed a mom named Claire on my podcast, the Peaceful Birth Podcast, so you can listen to her whole story there if you want to. She had 2 births where her baby was facing forward rather than facing her back, which is called OP positioning. And it's a variation of normal, but it sometimes can cause labor to be a little more painful or challenging. For her first birth, her labor pattern was sporadic, contractions weren't coming regularly, and she was feeling her contractions in her back and didn't have the tools that she needed to cope or help get the baby to move into a position that would reduce those painful sensations. So she ended up transferring from the birth center to the hospital for an epidural and had a very intervention-heavy birth, which wasn't what she wanted. She took an in-person birth class in her community, but it wasn't enough to prepare her to cope with her contractions.
For my first birth, the class that I took really didn't talk about anything other than the kind of physical parts of what happens during labor. And it ended up being a kind of traumatic experience because I had no idea what to do.
For her next birth, her baby was in the same OP position, but this time she used the tools she learned in my coaching program. And by the time she was pushing, she felt like things were off. She wasn't making much progress, so she switched into one of the better pushing positions she knew, and her baby was born soon after in the birth tub at home, just like she wanted. She said that when she moved into that different position, she felt this sense of rightness, like everything lined up perfectly. She said she didn't have anywhere near the amount of pain that she did the first time because she knew what to do.
It was the most beautiful experience of my life, being able to feel the intensity of your contraction and still feel in control.
And she described her baby's birth as near orgasmic, even with an OP baby, which typically makes birth more painful. And that is the power of preparation. Number 2, my partner doesn't think we should pay for this. Using free resources to prepare for a transition as significant as birth will actually cost more money long term, because the alternative is expensive in ways that no one warns you about. Medical intervention, extended recoveries, and emotional healing from a difficult birth can cost thousands more than proper preparation in money, energy, and time. A cesarean can add up to $13,000 to $25,000 in hospital costs. Pelvic floor therapy after tearing averages $150 to $200 a session, and most people need 6 to 12 sessions. Formula is roughly $2,000 a year. Therapy for birth trauma or postpartum anxiety can run from $125 or more each week. That averages to $31,000 happen in the first year of expenses that may have been preventable. So when someone says, I can't afford to prepare, I ask them, can you afford not to? And it honestly breaks my heart to see someone stuck with a bill for a birth experience that they didn't want, when a little preparation could have helped them avoid all of it. It's not just expensive to skip preparation, it can also impact your intimacy. Birth is designed to bring couples closer together, not drive a wedge between them. So have you heard those stories about moms who are constantly touched out, sex is super painful, and the couple starts to feel like roommates? No one wants that. Yet so many experience this exact thing. But imagine giving birth with your partner supporting you every step of the way, so grounded in their knowledge and tools that you can feel their confidence and their presence. Your partner being fully prepared for birth and believing in you even in the hardest moments will be a gift that you carry forward for the rest of your life. Going into birth together, well prepared, can enhance your intimacy long term. I've personally experienced this and I've witnessed it again and again. And I've also seen the opposite. Couples who skip deeper preparation because one person doesn't see the value, and months later the distance between them is still there. I had a friend years ago who was terrified of having a cesarean, and the fear was so overwhelming she would stay up late at night like anxious about it, and all throughout the day she'd have these scary thoughts pop up in her head. And her pregnancy experience was lonely and stressful because she never got the support she needed to work through those fears. And her husband was adamantly against spending any money on birth preparation. He didn't understand the value of getting personalized support, and she didn't know how to communicate how important this was to her. So at the end of her pregnancy, her doctor was pushing interventions that weren't evidence-based and actually increased certain risks that she wanted to avoid. But to convince her, her provider used her fear of cesareans against her, promising an increase in the likelihood of a vaginal delivery if she chose induction. And this is also not evidence-based. She wanted a natural birth, but with a husband who wanted to do whatever the provider said, she didn't know who to turn to for accurate information, tools for navigating these decisions, or help moving through the fear. She felt completely alone. So she compromised what she wanted, hoping to avoid what it was that she didn't want. And that ended up taking her directly towards the thing that she didn't want, which was a cesarean from induction complications. She felt betrayed and abandoned by her husband, and throughout postpartum, they never found a way to recover. And now they're divorced. On the surface, he was doing all the right things, attending appointments, asking provider questions, going to the hospital birth class, doing some research on his own, but he never truly listened to her. So if you want to do everything you can to have the most positive experience possible, but your partner won't support you, if your birth doesn't unfold smoothly, who are you going to blame? How will the lingering what ifs impact your intimacy? If you believe that you could have avoided that outcome, if your partner supported you in preparing upfront. Sometimes a mom tells me, he just doesn't understand why I need this. And then I remind her that you don't have to convince him. You can simply say, this matters to me. I need to feel ready. And when you claim that, something shifts. Partners often follow your certainty. They can see your confidence grow and they realize, oh, this is bigger than just a class. This is her peace. I once supported a couple who had a really tight budget, and she told me, we can't afford it, but I know in my gut that we need this. So they asked their family to contribute towards coaching instead of giving them baby gifts. And they described their birth and postpartum support as being life-changing.
I talked for a while about how much you helped us set up and be successful in our postpartum days. Like that was huge for us. That literally changed our lives.
When partners hesitate, it's not because they don't care. It's just a lack of perspective. They haven't yet seen what's possible when someone feels fully safe and supported and prepared. But you can lead the way. When you honor your instincts, they start to trust them too. Investing in your birth isn't just saying yes to coaching. It's saying yes to being the kind of mother who leads with intuition and love. What do you want to model for your child? Someone who settles for the easy way, or someone who knows that they deserve the very best and chooses it with confidence? Because when you choose the second way, you're teaching your child to live that way too. Number 3, I'm already taking another class. I hear this one often. I'm already signed up for a class at my hospital, or I'm taking an in-person course in my community, so I think I'm good. And I always say, I love that you're learning. That is a beautiful step. But what I want you to know is that there's a big difference between knowing about birth and being prepared for birth. So when I was pregnant with my first baby, I had already been a doula for nearly a decade. I had attended dozens of births, and I felt like I had seen it all. I thought if anyone's prepared, it's me. I took a birth class, I had a midwife, I had a doula, I gave birth in the water at home, and it was beautiful. But I tore badly, and I was in pain for weeks. It hurt to sit, to stand, to move. I remember lying there one night thinking, how could I have known so much and still felt unprepared for this part? The truth was, I had never really addressed my fear of tearing. I thought that I had. I told myself I trust birth, but deep down I was still afraid, and when that moment came to push, that fear made me tense. So I pushed harder than I needed to, and that is why my body tore. No one had ever shown me how to work with fear on a somatic level, how to release it before it could shape my birth. And that's what personalized coaching gives you. It's not just information, but transformation. A hospital birth class will tell you what to expect at the hospital. They'll illustrate their policies and procedures, but it won't tell you why your body responds to fear the way that it does, or how to shift that response in real time. It might show you positions, but it won't teach you which ones to use for your unique body or your baby's position. It won't help you identify your fears or rewire your nervous system so you can move through labor without freezing. And it won't teach your partner how to recognize moments where advocacy is necessary for your well-being and how to do that in a simple and compassionate way. More and more information doesn't create confidence. It creates feelings of overwhelm. Confidence comes naturally when you truly are prepared because you've organized and applied all the information to your unique path. And that's the difference between education and true preparation. Information lives in your head. Preparation lives in your body. When birth comes, you won't be thinking your way through it, you'll be feeling your way through it. And that's why personalized support changes everything, because when fear arises, you already know what to do. When things shift, you'll adapt with calm instead of panic, and that's not luck. That is preparation. When you're crying in the car because your provider recommended an intervention and you don't know what to do, you'll have someone who can help you untangle the fear until you can see the way forward again. It's the difference between entering birth hoping for the best and entering birth feeling completely confident, knowing that you have done everything you could to stack the deck in your favor. Number 4, I don't need coaching because I have a doula. I once recently supported a mom who'd had a very long, painful labor the first time with interventions that she didn't want. She had a wonderful doula who was there by her side the whole time, but she still looked back on her birth as a negative experience. And she told me everyone around me was supportive, but I still felt like I wasn't ready on the inside. So during her next pregnancy, she joined my coaching program. She had been working with a doula and a midwife, but was still terrified of having a long, painful labor like her first. But we worked on emotional preparation and tools for working through her fear, mentally reframing pain, and body preparation to help her labor move faster. She wanted to overcome her fear and have a fast birth, and that's exactly what she got. After our last session, she said, "I can't wait to experience birth this time. I'm looking forward to it." She had a 4-hour birth at home with no tearing. And that's what preparation does. It gives you back your voice, your peace, and your joy. Doulas are there to walk with you through the day of birth. My coaching prepares you in the weeks and months leading up to it, creating the conditions for a peaceful, empowered experiences. Doulas are incredible. I've been one for most of my life and I recommend them to everyone. But doulas are designed for the day of birth. They usually meet with you twice before, once after, and they text a little bit in between. This model offers enough time to connect and clarify your preferences and their role at your birth. But that's it. It's like hiring someone to run beside you during a marathon, when what you really need first is a coach to train you before the race begins. A doula helps you during birth. Coaching prepares you for birth. And the difference shows up when you're actually there, when the first waves begin, when the provider uses language that makes you feel uneasy, when you're in the hardest moments and you start doubting yourself. A doula can offer reassurance in that moment, but coaching gives you the tools to never lose your footing in the first place. You don't need to choose one or the other. They complement each other beautifully. But if you have to choose the preparation that empowers you to lead the experience, not just be supported through it. Most doulas are trained to provide comfort, presence, and emotional support during birth, and they do that beautifully. But there's a difference between standing at the edge of the water and knowing its depth. Their role doesn't include the deeper physiological and clinical understanding of how birth actually unfolds. But as a midwife in training, I've spent years studying not only the emotional landscape of birth, but the intricate dance of the body, how positioning, hormones, and subtle shifts can change everything. In addition to 15 years of experience, I've attended over 50 births as a midwife in training, and 20 of those babies were born directly into my hands. My understanding was forged not in theory, but in the rhythm of real births, in moments where instinct and science meet. And that's where I gained the kind of experience and wisdom that most doulas simply haven't had the opportunity to touch. And it's from that depth that I'm able to guide you, not with theory, but with lived knowing. After your baby is born, most birth doulas offer one postpartum visit, a check-in before fading into the background as you begin the hardest and most tender chapter of your life. But postpartum isn't a single moment, it's a landscape, and most parents are dropped there without a map. And that's why my coaching program doesn't end when the doula goes home, it begins there. I stay with you through the quiet hours when the world has moved on, but your heart is still adjusting, and your body is healing, and your identity is stretching into something completely new. I'm with you for as long as you need support. There's no set cap to the support that I offer through the sleepless nights, the waves of emotion, the fog of decision-making, and the rediscovery of intimacy, and the work of finding yourself again. I'm there to support you with every aspect of it. Postpartum is the bridge between who you were and who you're becoming, and I walk that bridge with you. Mistake number 5, thinking the free course is enough. I remember one mom who took the free course and then later joined my coaching. She told me the videos were great, but I didn't realize how much fear I was still carrying until we talked about it. She also said, I learned so much, but now I feel like I have all this information in my brain and I'm not sure what to do with it. A few weeks later, she texted and said she had an unmedicated birth with Pitocin, which is practically unheard of. Pitocin can make contractions much more painful, so most families get an epidural after Pitocin. But she said what made it possible wasn't just the information, it was having someone who believed in her until she believed in herself and supported her in releasing her fear so she could truly feel confident going into birth. A free course can't answer her questions, hold space when emotions arise, or walk her through a tough conversation with her provider. I helped her integrate birth preparation into her daily life. So she didn't just watch a class, she lived the preparation. More information isn't going to help you overcome fear. Integration will. Because you can have all the knowledge in the world, but when you're feeling vulnerable, when your provider says something unexpected, when your birth plan shifts, when you're crying because you don't know what the right decision is, information alone can't hold you. In those moments, what you need isn't another video or module. You need connection with someone who has the experience to hold you through it and knows you, your story, your fears, your values, and can help you find your footing again. That is what my coaching program can give you. It takes everything you've learned and brings it to life inside your unique experience. So I created my free birth class because I wanted every family, no matter their budget, to have access to evidence-based tools. It's a wonderful starting point, but here's what I've seen after 1,000 families used it. Information changes your mind. Personalized support changes your experience. Outcomes are better for those who take my coaching program. Knowing what to do and feeling ready to do it are two very different things. Think about it like learning to swim. You can watch videos and read about swimming all day, but the first time you step into the water, your heart races, your breath catches, and your body forgets everything that you've learned. It's just like goes out the window. It's only when someone is right there beside you, guiding you, reminding you that you're safe, that your body finally remembers how to float. And that is what coaching is. It's not about telling you what to do. It's about giving you lifelong tools to calm your nervous system, overcome fear, and trust in yourself and your body. The free course opens the door, and coaching walks you through it. In the free course, you'll learn the principles. In coaching, you'll apply them to your fears, your provider, your relationship, and your birth preferences. You'll have accountability, feedback, and reassurance when you need it most. You are a unique person with your own history, body, preferences, and values, and you deserve preparation that honors that. And the results speak for themselves. The families in my coaching program had outcomes 9 times better than the national average. 91% avoided tearing. 96% avoided cesareans. Every single one, 100%, said they felt confident going into birth. These outcomes didn't happen by hoping for the best. They're proof of what's possible with personalized support and preparation. So when you think, maybe I'll just stick with the free course, I want you to pause and ask, how do I want to feel when I feel those first contractions and prepare to meet my baby? Do I want to feel uncertain and hope that it works out? Or do I want to look forward to birth knowing it can be one of the most beautiful experiences of my life? Because you don't get to redo this moment. You get one birth with this baby, and it's worth doing everything you can to make your pregnancy, birth, and postpartum the most loving and positive experience possible. And at the end of the day, this isn't just about birth, it's how you begin parenthood. The confidence and self-trust you'll gain through this program don't end when your baby is born. They ripple forward into every season of your life, shaping how you show up for yourself and your family, because the way you birth is the way you begin this new chapter. And when you begin from confidence and self-trust, that trust becomes your child's foundation too. You are more than enough. You were made to give birth, and you deserve a birth story that reflects that truth. So if you notice a voice within you, however big or small, urging you to create the most peaceful experience possible, I invite you to say yes.